All right, in this video, I want to break down the skills that you need to build a successful business. I'm well suited to teach you these skills and to rank them for you because over the years, I've built several multi-8-figure businesses, and I've also coached a lot of entrepreneurs and helped them build their business as well. And I'm going to rank the top skills you need to build your business. All right, I got this tier list set up and I got all the skills I think you need. Here's the ranking system. It's a balling out of control, right? That's the most important one. Then baller. It's important. Good. It's like, hey, man, it's good if you have this. Okay, it's like, hey, it's fine. And then BS, like bullshit. Astrology would be in this category. We're going to start with the number one skill. I'm not going to waste your time. We're going to skip the foreplay and go straight to the penetration with sales. Sales is balling out of control. Here's the thing about business. If you don't make sales, you don't make money, right? Sales are the lifeblood of a business. Bulk of your efforts, especially when you're starting out, is to be making sales. Everything else will take care of itself. Make sales when you got a business. It's the most important thing. If you're not making sales, you don't have a business. You have a hobby. In fact, in my organizations, I always look at it like this. I really feel like sales is the nucleus, and then all the other departments work for the sales team. Some of the departments like marketing, right? And when I'm on the marketing meetings, I'm like, how do we get our sales team more leads? But also, how do we structure our marketing so it makes the sales team's job easier? And then customer service or fulfillment, I feel like they work for the sales team. They have to do a good enough job satisfying the customer so the sales team gets testimonials and the sales team can use those testimonials to make more sales. And if somebody's on some sort of payment plan, we need to make sure that they're successful and they're satisfied with their product so they keep paying the sales team, right? So I really feel like sales is the nucleus and everybody works for the sales team. That's how my mind works. Now, I have a bias because I've been doing sales for 25 years or so. And I started off as a salesperson, right? So I have that bias, but I really think it's important. Also, if your sales team is good, it covers up a lot of sins. For example, if you're running ads to a particular product or service and you have a sales team taking orders, if the sales team is converting at a high rate, then the ads don't even have to be that good. Like I remember when I first started running ads, I wasn't good at first at running ads. Like my cost per lead was trash. Everything I was doing on the ad side was kind of trash. I figured, man, as long as I get enough leads, I know that my close rate is high enough that I can convert them profitably. Once I got further along, I wanted to optimize the marketing as well. But yo, man, as long as you got the sales popping, it covers up a lot of sins, a lot of problems in your business. I mean, you can still fuck shit up, but you could also save your business if sales fuck up. I cannot tell you how many times I've been in business that it's like, fuck, I don't know what we're going to do, man. We're going to make payroll. Like long time, are we going to have the money to pay everybody? And I was like, fuck, man, I just went on a sales rampage and said, man, give me every lead you can. Let's go. And I just started calling up leads, calling. And I literally saved different businesses multiple times with the sales. And the cool thing about sales, if you are good at sales, this is if you're in business or if you're just a salesperson, you can get paid more for the same amount of work. It's a multiplier. For example, if there's two salespeople and they're both working 40 hours a week, one has a 25% close rate, meaning they're closing 25% of the people they talk to, and the other one has a 50% close rate and they're closing 50% of the people they talk to. Yeah, the second guy is making twice as much money for the same amount of work. They're taking the same amount of calls, but because the skills are so high, he's making twice as much as the other motherfucker. This is super important. Sales is a force multiplier. If you can learn sales, you'll never go broke. For example, I have a lot of confidence to take financial risk and to go super hard, maybe go out on the ledge sometimes, because I know no matter what, if everything falls down, if business fail, shit just falls apart, I can just do sales and make just as much money as I am now. I call up one of my homies who has an offer or something. I'll be like, let me do your sales, right? Well, I'm at the level now. I'll be like, let me run your sales team, and I know, or let me train your sales team for a percentage of commission. And I know I can get them motherfuckers selling their asses off. I know because I've done it, not because I needed to, but I have friends who have sales teams and they'll call me in to talk to their sales team. I went in their businesses, started working with their sales team and improved their sales team's close rates, and they started making way more money, right? Let's move on. The cousin to sales is marketing. I'm gonna say marketing is baller. Now, some people would reverse these because there is a thing where if the marketing is good enough, the sales doesn't have to be good, right? If your marketing is really, really good, you don't have to be a good salesperson. For example, if The Rock wanted to sell online training, hey, I'm gonna train some people online, he wouldn't have to get on a sales call with you or on Zoom with you. He just say, hey, I'm offering online training, link in the bio, and you wouldn't have to have no copy on the page or no cool sales letter, just a fucking buy link. And that shit would sell out, right? Because he's the most famous actor on earth right now. He's marketed himself to a point where he doesn't have to be good at sales, right? The marketing is so strong. However, that's super difficult. I think that's more difficult than learning sales. Personally, that's why I put it at baller. But if you can be an amazing marketer, then it's more scalable. You can build a bigger business with good marketing. I think I have no political ties. I'm not even gonna tell you who I'm voting for. I don't care who wins the election. I'm not a Democrat or a Republican. But I think Donald Trump is the best marketer of all time. And the reason I say that is because you don't have the population to vote for him and become president without ever holding public office. No track record in public office, right? Think about that. There's only one other person to do it. And his name was Dwight D. Eisenhower. He had to kill Hitler and save the world, right? He had to fucking save the world to do it. Trump just had to be a good marketer. That's not a policy decision. I'm not saying he's a good or bad guy. I think he might be the best. And as far as companies that I think market really well are Apple. Apple's probably the best in my opinion. I know that because before the M1 chip came out, they were using Intel processors, which means the insides of the computers were the same as the PCs. But they were able to sell that shit for almost twice as much. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, the operating system was a little different, but not different enough. I know because I used to build PCs, so I know how much. And it was just like, yo, these motherfuckers really got them to pay twice as much for the same shit. When the M1 came out, that's when things changed. That's when I switched over to Mac, when they came out with the new chip. Anyway, I don't nerd out. I think Apple is great. Here's another reason I know it. Samsung makes some better phones than Apple. I know because I used to have both. I switched to Apple because the marketing was so good. The green bubble, motherfuckers start shaming you for that shit. There's studies online that show that guys with green text get less dates. Motherfuckers might have a more expensive phone. My girlfriend, when I first met her, I texted her from my Android, a nice one. That shit was one of the best Samsungs you could get. And she said, ew, your text is green? I can't tell you how many times I heard that shit. You know, listen, I switched phones for that ass. That's marketing right there, man. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's move on. Financial management. I'm gonna put this as a baller. Like, financial management in accounting is fucking critical. You got to be able to really manage your finance and manage the books. Because if you don't do that, you can fuck around and make a lot of money and still go bankrupt. I've known people who've had record years in their business, ended up losing money because they didn't know how to manage their finances, right? Stifles growth of organizations. I've seen it take down organizations because they just didn't manage their finances appropriately. I learned how to do accounting in college. I don't really know how you're going to learn accounting without going to college. I'm sure you can some kind of way, but you know, I was lucky enough to go to college. But it's super important. And you could hire someone to do it, but they can also rip you off. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to be on top of your shit. I do the accounting for my business, the day-to-day stuff, but I hire people to do like taxes and shit like that. But I'm still looking at every transaction every day, categorizing it. I know exactly what's going on with my business and my money. Let's go with the next one, project management. I'm gonna put this as baller, right? Okay, because I've dealt with other businesses when, you know, doing like partnerships or we do different ventures with other people's business. And sometimes we start working with these motherfuckers. Me and my project manager, my COO, Amber, will be like, fuck, these motherfuckers are a mess. Like, the way they communicate, the way they plan shit is a mess. Where like we run shit kind of, you know, like a tight organization. One of the ways I learned this, it was a guy, but he put together the project management strategy for ClickFunnels, which is a $100 million business. And I became cool with him, and he taught me a project management style where we use software to do it, right? When I was in charge, we were using Trello. But now my COO, she uses ClickUp right now. If you get some sort of project management software, you can use ClickUp, Asana, Trello, Basecamp. Any of these softwares is really going to help you be more efficient with your team or even for yourself. When you set a goal, you can write each step of the goal, and then you put deadlines to each step, but then assign each step to an individual person on your team. And then at a glance, you can look at it and see where everybody's at. If somebody's behind, you can be like, hey, asshole, get your shit together, and everybody can see where everybody's at as far as the project's concerned. Otherwise, it doesn't get done. I've seen people try to run organizations like this, and it usually fails unless the only people I've seen be successful with having fucking shitty project management, people who are like amazing marketers, right? So we were dealing with this influencer who he has like millions and millions of followers. So he gets so many leads, but their organization was a fucking mess. They were still profitable because the influencer were so good at marketing that he got so many leads in. It's like, it'd be hard to fuck that up. But if they really got their shit together, man, they could probably be making like $10 million a year if they had a better infrastructure. So this is another thing that's like a multiplier. You get the whole team on one page and you move faster. You want to go fast? Go alone. You want to go far? Go together. But everybody got to be on the same motherfucking page, and everybody got to be moving. You got to be able to see where everybody's moving and be able to manage that shit. It's super important. Negotiating. I mean, listen, it's good, but I think people oversell negotiation, right? Because I had got really good at negotiating. I studied it, read a lot of books. And if you're good at sales, you end up being good at negotiating. But there's a point of diminishing returns with negotiation. You can negotiate so well that you can get exactly what you want out of the negotiation. But somebody who you're doing business with, they don't get enough. And if they don't get enough, they're not incentivized to work hard, and they start half-assing the project. So it's almost better. Got so good at negotiating, I was getting whatever I wanted, but then the people I would partner with, they agreed to it because I'm good at negotiating and I'm persuasive. It ended up not being very good for anyone, even me, because they weren't invested enough for me to get their all. Honestly, it's better to make sure that everybody gets enough of the pie where everyone's incentivized to work hard. Because if everyone's incentivized to work hard, then the pie will get bigger. Like my boy Romulus once said this, man, it was like dopest quote. He said, I don't care how big my slice of the pie is, as long as the pie is humongous. You get what I'm saying? But if people worry about percentages and they worry about how much they're getting, for example, I used to manage influencers. I had the business where I would manage influencers, people who had a big following. We would help them build businesses, digital products or physical products. Me and my team would do everything because we're good at project management. We're good at like all the other shit, all right? And they're just good at like making videos or fucking being on Instagram or some shit. They were good marketers, right? And we did everything else for them. And we would split it 50-50. Most of them were cool with that because there was way more money than they would ever make. And we were doing like all the work. They just had to keep making the same videos they've been making, but like fucking shout out some shit at the end of it. But there was one influencer I remember, we were going to do a product with him, and he was like, man, I can't do 50-50, man. I'll give you like 15%. I'm like, oh man, we're doing all the work though. You know, I'm putting the money for the websites. I'm putting the money for the CRM. I'm going to be putting up my own money for the ads. It's like, I can't really do that. You know, I need 50% to make that worthwhile. And he was like, nah, man, it's going to be a multi-million-dollar business, man. I don't want to do it. All right. And I was like, all right, man. He tried to do all this shit that you see in here himself. One guy. And yeah, he failed. He don't even be influencing no more. Man, I think this motherfucker got a job, right? But it's like he was so concerned about his slice of the pie being the biggest, the actual pie doesn't fucking exist anymore, right? The key is to make sure everybody gets enough where they're incentivized to work hard. You want to go far, go together. Customer service, I'm gonna put this in good, you know, as long as the customers are satisfied. It'll be good because you want to make sure that you get good testimonials. And if you get really good testimonials, then that's really gonna help you with your marketing efforts. For example, when you see me promoting my business, High Ticket Trainer, where I teach trainers how to start their online businesses, I am always just showing the testimonials, man, because I can just say anything. But if I show you what everyone is, the results everyone's getting, then they will be super satisfied. Man, you got to know how to talk to angry customers. That shit don't really happen, right? You know, but I guess it happens to some people sometimes. People know who they can fucking talk crazy to. People look at me and believe, yeah, man, the 6'2" black guy who's 210 pounds. Let me start yelling at him. Self-preservation may outweigh their anger under those circumstances, but you might have to deal with an angry customer. I don't think the customer's always right, man. If somebody yells at my fucking staff, yo, we just kick them out. Like we were playing basketball and you got in my fucking point guard's face, I might fucking fuck you up, you know? You know what I'm saying? Let me go get a flagrant 3. I got to set a precedence out here. All right. It depends on where you are with your business, right? If you're just starting, then it's good. But once you like start making some bread, you want it to be here. Networking. Yo, networking is bullshit, bro. Here's the thing about networking. It only works when you have it popping. Motherfuckers ain't got nothing popping, nothing to show for themselves. And they be like, man, how do I network with people? I was like, Yo, you don't, man, because you don't have nothing to offer these people, right? So really what you're asking me is, how can I siphon value from these other motherfuckers, right? Because you don't have nothing to offer. You got to get shit popping first and then start networking. But here's the thing. Once you got shit popping, you don't even need the network. It might be helpful. It's cool. It's fine. I really don't think it's something you need to focus on. Like, I just don't believe that, man. I built $1 million businesses, man, without motherfucking help from motherfuckers, right? I had mentors and shit, but I wasn't out here networking, going to network events. I don't do that shit now, and I'm super rich, right? Like, that's how my networking is. I got it popping to the point where motherfuckers reach out to me, but I don't need them. That's when it's most effective. You don't need each other, and then you can have a mutually beneficial relationship. But to focus on that when you don't have shit popping, you're just trying to siphon value from others without anything to offer, and it doesn't work. You can get shit popping on your own. And then once you have shit popping, networking will be easy. Leadership, which you're going to put in balling out of control. Leadership is super important, but you want to think about it the way I think about leadership. You ever see the birds flying in that V formation doing their migration? The reason they do that is because the bird in front is working harder than all the other birds, and the aerodynamics of the bird formation makes it easier for the other birds to fly. What do you call somebody who's in front? Leader. The leader is working hardest. So my employees, I feel like I work for them. I don't feel like, oh, they work for me, I'm the boss. No. I work for them. And it's a responsibility that I don't take lightly. These motherfuckers' livelihoods depend on me. Some of them got kids and stuff, right? You know, that kid's dad doesn't eat because I fucked up. I'd feel like shit. I work for the employees. My job is to make their job easier, to help them succeed, and put them in the best position to succeed. You used to watch the greats, especially in the NFL, like the quarterback's like the leader of the team, right? When they win a game, man, the greats, they never be on there, yeah, I'm that nigga, can't nobody tackle me. Every time I throw some shit is dope. The only reason we got them interceptions because that bitch nigga couldn't catch. He ain't run his routes right. Nah, they never do. The Patrick Mahomes would never. When they lose, he says, yo, it starts with me. We got to do better. It starts with me. I got to put my guys in the best position to succeed. I remember he threw a pick 6, which is rare for Patrick. And he was like, yeah, I got to put the ball in position for my receiver to get it. I saw that game and it was the receiver's fault, right? But Patrick, you know, he protected his guys because he's the leader. You know what I'm saying? That's what the great leaders do. They say it starts with me. They never go out there and blaming their team or something. When they win, Patrick's not like, yo, I'm the best ever. I carried all these motherfucking bums to all these Super Bowls. They should name their kids after me, right? He's never talking like that, right? He's thanking his team, he's thanking the coach, right? You know, that's what the leaders do, right? The person in front is working the hardest, just like that V formation. But another part of leadership is you got to know when to let other people lead. So like sometimes we'll have a project and we'll come up with a game plan together. Somebody on my team is in charge. They're allowed to tell me what to do under those circumstances. It's like, yo, you in charge. You let me know how you want to do this, right? Because we came up with the plan together, but at that point, he's in charge and you got to know when to step back. I'm not trying to big time him. It's like, yo, man, I hired you for a reason. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like the I was filming with Aiden. I was like, yo, Aiden was asking me a question. I was like, brother, what do you see, man? You got the vision, man. This is your domain, man. I'm on your turf right now. You feel me? I'm not trying to, yo, man, get the camera, man. What the fuck? Yo, stand over here. Shut up. Do that. Like, I would never. I got to trust the people I leave to do their job. I don't hire people to tell them what to do. I hire people to tell me what to do. Presumably, they're better than me in the domain I hired them for. You know, it also takes some pressure off me if I did a good job hiring and I trust in people. It's like, hey, man, you tell me. What do you see? What do you want to do? That's a big part of leadership, but not everybody can do that. Sometimes people got to micromanage. They got to be in charge of everything. And it's difficult for them to go far under those circumstances. I've seen it a lot. Just like in that V formation, that dude in the front, he ain't flying in the front the whole time. At one point, he's going to go to the back and another bird go to the front. Sometimes you got to pull the bird switch, right? So when me and Aiden out filming, I came up with the plan, right? Yeah, we doing this, man. I out the quarterback, but once we on set, we put a leadership bird switch, man. I go to the back of the line formation. Aiden in front now. He in charge. We filmed the video and he was like, yo, we need another shot. I'm gonna ride this. He was riding an electric skateboard filming us while we was driving the car. Yo, is that good? You want to do it again? You know what I'm saying? Nah, we got it. You sure? Yeah, got it. cool, man. You should, if you want to watch that video, it's a video of me when I'm test driving cars because I'm about to get a new car, right? That's a leadership bird switch right there. But you got to be able to hire good. Hiring and recruiting. This is, honestly, I'm gonna put this in ball out of control. You can only do that with the right team. Initially, when I first started my business, people who volunteered to work for me, right? And if they did good after a while, then we would actually offer them a job. I stopped doing that a long time ago because what I noticed is you end up with an army of incompetence. These motherfuckers don't know nothing about nothing. Sometimes you get what you fucking pay for, right? And these motherfuckers didn't know nothing. Now we hire people who come with a skill set. Motherfuckers gotta be good. We teach them the ins and outs of shit, but then they got to be good. You know, when Nima joined the team, I wasn't teaching him how to edit videos. I don't do any of the hiring anymore because I am notoriously bad at hiring. I might be one of the worst ever, but what I do, leadership bird switch. My COO, Amber, she does all the hiring. And she'd be like, yo, we got these people. It's like, Amber, I don't care who you pick. I trust you, man. You let me know when it's done. And she does all that, man. You know, it's the leadership bird switch. You got to be good at that because Amber's A players. She finds the A players. And if you got A players, you can really take shit to the next level. Let's go with legal knowledge. Good. You know, make sure you ain't breaking laws. You don't end up in the Bing. Take that up north trip. You feel me? You get sent upstate. Some bullshit. You know what I'm saying? You might not know, right? Because ignorant, you can't say I ain't know it was illegal. You can't tell that to the judge, man. He ain't gonna have pity on that. You got to know the knowledge, or at least be able to hire someone. So that's important. Communication. I'm gonna put it okay. Like some people rank this higher. I think if you build the culture of your business, right, then you won't have to alter your communication as much, right? Your communication should suit the culture. You get what I'm saying? So the way I talk to my employees, the way I talk to my team, it fits within our corporate culture. It probably wouldn't work stuffy ass company, you know, where shit is crazy, right? This may not make sense to you. This is my list. You might not agree with this. Creativity. I put that as balling out of control. And it's going to go with problem solving. Let me tell you why. They're together. Because business is all problem solving. All businesses solves a problem. For example, I needed a delicious drink that's highly caffeinated that I can consume multiple times a day to ball harder. And Celsius solved that problem for me. I needed a wireless mouse and keyboard for my computer, right? Because I ain't want wires and shit fucking my shit up. Logitech solved that problem for me. I needed a timepiece that allowed me to not only tell the time, but also flex on haters while stunting on hoes simultaneously. I needed to do all three of those things at once. All right. Richard Millet solved that problem for me. They were well compensated for that. So business is all problem solving. To find the problems takes creativity, but to solve the problem takes a creative approach. You got to figure out a way to solve that problem, and you might have to figure out a way to solve it in a way that's unique or cheaper or more effective than the competitors. Creativity is a skill, right? And I used to be, you know, a lot of y'all don't know, I used to be signed to Sony Records as a rapper and producer. Right out of college, I got signed to Sony Records because when I was in college, I used to open up for all the artists that were popular in the 2000s. I opened up for T.I., Ludacris, Kanye West right before the first album came out, Fabulous, a bunch of others. And I play instruments. I play keyboard, drums, and guitar. Even though I got dropped from the label, right? I am not a successful musician right now, right? The time I spent in music, I believe it honed my creativity skills, right? I can think of ways to solve problems where other people may struggle in those regards. But also creativity is important for marketing. If you're making ads or you're coming out with marketing material, it's like all creativity. It's almost an art more than a science. I believe I honed my creativity skills in music, you know, coming up with songs, writing music, making beats and shit. I make like most of the beats on my YouTube videos. I don't know if y'all knew that. That's one of my problems. I'm just so talented. I'm good at so many things. It's like it's hard to focus, right? If you can find creative ways to solve problems or creative ways to market yourself, then it's a multiplier. You can get things done faster and you can accomplish more than someone who's maybe just a copycat. Operations management. This is really good. Manage all the parts of the business, making sure that everything operates smoothly. I'm not great at that, but that's why I have Amber, Chief Operating Officer. It's almost like she runs the business. Like I help come up with the plans, but like she, from the technical aspect and working with the people, she's running everything else. At this point, at first I did everything, but once I got her to do it, it's like, okay, that freed me up to focus on the other parts of the business, right? It's super important because the business runs so much smoother now. Human resource management, this is HR. It's okay. I can't speak to it because Amber does all that shit. Again, I'm not the person to hire, but it's okay. It's very important. Maybe it should be higher. Decision making, good. You got to be able to make decisions, man. Especially if you're going to be a CEO, you got to be able to make decisions. You got to be able to be decisive when you're making those decisions. If you can't do that, sometimes people get stuck from paralysis of analysis, and they don't really make moves, or they make moves hesitantly or timidly with too much trepidation. They don't really get shit popping as a result. There's also risk management. I'm gonna put this here, risk management. Everything's a risk. Even doing nothing is a risk. And you got to be able to weigh your risk. When I want to take any risk in business or in life, I ask myself a few questions. One is, what's the worst that can happen? And I don't try to make it feel better. I don't try to sugarcoat it or make it better than it seems. I like, what's the worst that can happen? I'm like the absolute worst. And then I think to myself, okay, can I handle that? And if the answer is no, if there's any possibility the worst is like more than I can handle, then all right, I don't do it. If the answer is yes, then it's like, okay, what do I need to do in order to make sure that either doesn't happen, or if it does happen, then I'm still in a good position? So that comes with like plan Bs, backup plans, contingency plans. People think that I'm super brave and risk adverse, but reality is I'm super cautious because I go through that protocol. I'm able to be confident because I got game plans, and I'm like that with everything. I remember we had to do an event in LA a few years ago. I made sure my team brought backup cameras, backup hard drives, and a backup computer, right? We just had a backup for everything. It was extra expense, and it was more arduous than it needed to be. And at the end, I remember my boy Brian was like, man, you made us bring all this stuff we ain't even need it. I was like, man, that's like saying, man, you wore your seatbelt and we ain't even crash. That's like me saying, man, I had life insurance 10 years and I ain't even die. I think of these things like insurance. So like, I don't plan on the worst happening, but I have a plan if it does happen. I have a contingency, right? I have a fire extinguisher in my kitchen, right? I don't plan on burning the motherfucking kitchen down. You know what I'm saying? I think the likelihood is low, but in the event that motherfucker burns down, I got a game plan. But I'm like that with everything. Like pretty much every move I make, I really think about what's the worst that can happen, but not even what's the worst can happen, like first order consequences, right? What's the worst that can happen immediately? But then what's the result of that? That's second order consequences. Like what would that mean? And then third order consequences, like what would that mean? This one is offers, how to make offers. I think this is like baller, super important. When you're selling a product or service, consider like what's the offer? What are you selling it for, right? If you're selling coaching, okay, what kind of coaching are you doing? What are you going to give the client, and for how much? Like how do you structure the offer? You want your offer to be so good they would feel stupid if they said no. That's a Dan Kennedy quote. And if you do that, that makes the sales easier. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and put it in baller. Because if your offer is fucking a no-brainer, then the marketing is easier and the sales are easier. And it really makes everything easier. That's my list of skills you need to build a successful business. I have another video I'm gonna put somewhere around here where it's gonna be all about the lessons I learned being in business over the last decade and a half that's helped me build multiple millions. Go check that video out right now.